Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Words in Action, where we explore fun and effective ways to boost your English vocabulary. I'm Sarah, and as always, I'm joined by Mark.
Hey there! Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're diving into one of my favorite methods for learning new words, reading newspapers and articles. It's something we all can do, and it's super effective.
Absolutely, Mark. Newspapers and articles are packed with rich vocabulary, and they're a great way to see how words are used in context. So, how do you get started with this method?
Well, first, pick a newspaper or an article that interests you. It could be from a well-known publication like the New York Times or The Guardian or even an online blog. The key is to choose something that grabs your attention, so you're more likely to stay engaged.
That's a great point. When you're interested in the topic, you're more motivated to understand the content, and that means you'll naturally focus more on the vocabulary being used.
Exactly. As you read, keep an eye out for unfamiliar words. Don't just skip over them. Take a moment to look them up. I usually have a dictionary app open on my phone or a browser tab ready to go. It's quick, and it really helps.
I do the same. Another tip is to try to guess the meaning of the word from the context before you look it up. This way, you're training your brain to think about how words are used in sentences.
Once you've figured out the meaning, jot the word down in a notebook or a digital document, along with a brief definition and an example sentence from the article. This helps reinforce the word in your memory.
Yes, and don't forget to revisit those words later. The more you see and use a word, the more likely it is to stick with you. You can even try to use them in your own sentences or conversations.
That's a solid strategy. Reading newspapers and articles not only improves your vocabulary, but also keeps you informed about the world. It's like killing two birds with one stone.
Totally agree. So, to sum it up, choose interesting articles, look up new words, jot them down, and review them regularly. It's a simple but powerful way to expand your vocabulary.
We hope you'll give this method a try. In our next episode, we'll talk about how to use vocabulary apps to build your word bank. Until then, keep reading and learning.
Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on Words in Action. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Words in Action, your go-to podcast for mastering English vocabulary. I'm Sarah, and as usual, I'm here with Mark.
Mark, hi everyone. Today, we're exploring a modern and tech-savvy way to expand your vocabulary using vocabulary apps. These apps are like having a personal tutor in your pocket.
That's right, Mark. Vocabulary apps are fantastic because they're designed to help you learn new words quickly and effectively, and you can use them anytime, anywhere. So, how can we make the most of these apps?
The first step is choosing the right app. There are tons of options out there like Duolingo, Memrise, and Quizlet. Each one has its own style and features, so it's worth trying a few to see which one fits your learning style best.
Yes, and once you've picked your app, it's important to set aside some time each day to use it. Even just 10 to 15 minutes can make a big difference. Consistency is key when it comes to building your vocabulary.
Exactly. These apps often use spaced repetition, a technique where words are reviewed at increasing intervals to help you remember them long term. So, the more regularly you use the app, the more effectively you'll retain the new words.
Another cool feature of many apps is that they often have games or quizzes to test your knowledge. This makes learning fun and interactive, which is a huge plus. You're not just memorizing words, you're engaging with them.
Definitely. And don't forget to take advantage of the customizable word lists some apps offer. You can create lists of words you encounter in your daily life, whether from reading or conversations, and review them whenever you have a spare moment.
That's a great tip, Mark. And let's not overlook the power of tracking your progress. Many apps have features that let you see how many words you've learned or how many days in a row you've practiced. This can be really motivating.
Absolutely. Seeing that progress can give you the push you need to keep going, especially on days when you're feeling less motivated.
So, to wrap up, pick an app that suits your learning style, use it daily, engage with the interactive features, and keep track of your progress. Vocabulary apps are a powerful tool for language learners, and they can really speed up your progress.
We hope you'll give vocabulary apps a try and see how they can enhance your learning experience. In our next episode, we'll discuss the benefits of keeping a vocabulary journal. Until then, happy learning!
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time on Words in Action. Sarah, welcome back to Words in Action, where we share the best tips and tricks to supercharge your English vocabulary. I'm Sarah, and as always, I'm here with Mark.
Mark, hi everyone. Today, we're going old school with a method that's simple but incredibly effective: keeping a vocabulary journal. This is one of those tried and true techniques that really works.
Absolutely, Mark. A vocabulary journal is a personal space where you can track new words, explore their meanings, and practice using them. It's like building your own custom dictionary.
That's a great way to put it, Sarah. So, how do you start a vocabulary journal? First, get yourself a notebook or set up a digital document. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something that you'll use regularly.
Exactly. Once you have your journal, the next step is to start logging new words as you come across them. You might find these words while reading, listening to podcasts, or even during conversations. Write down the word, its definition, and an example sentence.
And don't forget to include some extra details that can help you remember the word better, like its pronunciation, synonyms, antonyms, or even a quick note about where you found the word. The more context you have, the easier it will be to recall.
That's such a good point. You can also try to make it more engaging by adding visual elements. Maybe you draw a quick sketch related to the word, or you use different colors to highlight key parts of the entry. This can make reviewing your journal more enjoyable.
Speaking of reviewing, that's the next important step. Set aside time regularly to go back through your journal and revisit the words you've logged. This could be daily, weekly, or whatever works best for you. The goal is to reinforce what you've learned.
Right. You can also test yourself by covering up the definitions and trying to recall them just by looking at the words. Or you can make flashcards from your entries for a more active review session.
Another tip is to make a habit of using the new words in your own sentences. Whether you're writing a diary entry, a short story, or just jotting down random thoughts, incorporating these words into your writing helps solidify them in your memory.
And if you're feeling ambitious, you could even categorize your words into themes or topics, like business vocabulary or nature words. This can help you see connections between words and deepen your understanding of how they're used in different contexts.
So, to summarize, start by choosing your journal format. Log new words with detailed entries, review regularly, and use the words in your own writing. Keeping a vocabulary journal is a powerful way to personalize your learning and track your progress over time.
We hope this inspires you to start your own vocabulary journal. In our next episode, we'll be discussing how engaging in conversations can boost your vocabulary skills. Until then, happy journaling!
Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on Words in Action.
Sarah, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Words in Action, your friendly guide to mastering English vocabulary. I'm Sarah, and I'm here with Mark.
Mark, hey everyone. Today, we're talking about one of the most natural and effective ways to improve your vocabulary: engaging in conversations. It's something we do every day, but with a little focus, it can become a powerful learning tool.
Exactly, Mark.
When
You actively participate in conversations. You're not just practicing your speaking and listening skills. You're also exposing yourself to new vocabulary in real time. It's like a live lesson with every chat.
So, how can we make the most of conversations to boost our vocabulary? Well, the first step is to be an active listener. Pay close attention to the words and phrases the other person uses, especially if they're new or unfamiliar to you.
That's a great starting point. And don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you hear a word you don't know. It's a great way to learn, and most people are happy to explain or even give you a synonym or example.
Definitely. Another strategy is to challenge yourself to use new words you've recently learned in your conversations. This not only helps you remember the word, but also builds your confidence in using it correctly.
Right. It's one thing to know a word in theory, but using it in a conversation helps solidify it in your mind. Plus, it gives you the chance to practice pronunciation and get comfortable with the word's nuances.
And here's a tip. Try to engage in conversations with people who have a strong vocabulary or are native speakers. They can introduce you to new words and phrases naturally, just through regular dialogue.
That's true. And if you don't have access to native speakers, joining online language exchange communities or discussion groups can be a great alternative. These spaces are often filled with people eager to help each other learn.
Another important aspect is being mindful of the context in which words are used. Conversations give you a chance to see how words can change meaning depending on tone, situation, or who you're talking to. It's a practical way to understand connotations and subtleties.
Absolutely, Mark. And finally, after a conversation, take a moment to reflect on any new words you heard or used. Jot them down in your vocabulary journal and look up any that you're still unsure about.
So, to sum it up, be an active listener. Don't hesitate to ask for clarification. Use new words in your own speech. Engage with people who have a strong command of the language, and reflect on what you've learned after each conversation. Engaging in conversations isn't just about talking. It's about learning.
We hope this episode encourages you to dive into more conversations with a focus on learning new words. In our next episode, we'll be sharing tips on how to make learning vocabulary fun and exciting. Until then, keep talking and keep learning.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you next time on Words in Action.